these new bits, well, for a long time. Well, it's been a year actually since they, the bits were sent to us to try. As some as you know, I have tried to produce bits myself. It's a very, very expensive process. The moulds are the most expensive thing. That's one I've done, which is not actually unsimilar to one of these. If you look, the general shape is similar. Can you see? So you've got this curve here, it's narrower. The same with this one, it's narrower, it's flatter that way than it is that way. That's the problem there. Lasted no time at all. And every one of them have got to have a cord in, like a steel cord or a chain. You've got to have something joining your rings together, because obviously if horse did sever it clean in half, you'd have no steering. So this one I made, had made, and then I thought the ends didn't look right, so we went to this one, and this was successful. So you can see the thickness is nice, which the problem with rubber bits like these ones, you can see the difference in the thickness is massive. So like that, and we had the ends, but again, getting this right, you see how this one's been chewed. Well, you see, once it's chewed, obviously there and where the horse's teeth are, been on this particular bit, because the jaw, although the jaw looks that wide, the actual teeth are quite close together. When I'm talking about it, I'm talking about pre-molars, which do the chewing of the bit. So they've marked that one. So that side there's much, much better. But it's a problem, a real problem. You see here, look, when you bend it, and this cost a great deal of money. I thought the ends looked nice from that point of view, as far as sitting out the horse's mouth. So then, whilst we were using these, we had these bits, which are standard that you can buy. The problem is with these, you never know when they come from around the world. You never know what's in them. We did have some analysed, and what's in there is old, rubbish, plastics, all sorts of stuff that they're made of. So this one here, for instance, is very, very flexible, easily. I mean, you can do it with one finger. This one here is much firmer, much, much firmer to put. So anyway, these bits come along. And I was a bit sceptical, having seen so many and tried myself to produce them. Just because I've always wanted to use, I used to use leather bits years ago when I was a kiddie, driving horses, but I've always believed in rubber bits, and it's your contact with the horse. If you're riding, obviously you've got your legs, etc. But your hands is your main contact, and your voice. And I've always thought if you can get that right, that's good. Anyway, they sent us a load of these bits. Some we would never use, not because, but they're for a specific job. So this one here, for instance. But the wonderful thing about them is, before we talk about the actual bit, you see in there, you've got an Allen key fitting. So you can actually change that cheek piece to a Liverpool, for instance. So there's the pin in there. You undo that at the top, that comes out, and you can put that bit onto there. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, the way I see it, one thing I can tell you, for a young lady we broke horse for, and she was driving it, then she had to go and have an operation on both arms. She had some defects in her muscles and sinews and whatever, I don't know, understand it, but it left her for 3 months with not the strength. She could still do everything, but she didn't have the strength in her arms. So she went from this bit, which she was using, this one, and without applying any more pressure to the horse, she swapped to I think a Liverpool cheek piece, yeah? Just slipped it in. Now that didn't put any more pressure on the horse's mouth at all. It's just that she didn't have the strength. So if she could pull before, let's say, for argument's sake, 10 pounds, she could only pull 5 pounds, or if she could pull 2 pounds, she could only pull 1 pound, yeah? So in weight. So therefore, that was nice to do. Also, I think it's probably good when your horse comes into work after being off, you know, maybe you want a little stronger bit. We only ever use rubber, and we only ever used a loose running cheek piece. So these are interchangeable. The one that's not interchangeable is that one, because obviously there's nothing to change, it's just a loose ring. This is the one we use. And I've got to say, I just can't believe how good these bits are. All rubber bits get chewed. I've shown you some that I manufactured that just got chewed, useless. This one here is one of these. Again, look at it. This happened, we put this in, a brand new bit, we put it in the horse's mouth. We've got the film there, I'll just show you now. And it chewed through it in 10 minutes. And, what's this one actually? This bit here, we put in to that horse. And the whole time it was there, I think it was there, certainly here 6 weeks, it might have been here 7. That's the bit it wore, the whole time it was here. And not one mark on it. You can look at it, you know, and see not one mark. So it's an identical bit, but not one mark on it. We've got one here, if I can find it somewhere for you in a minute. It's got a tiny mark on. But this is after, yeah, there, that's the one. Probably have to coming up with a close up on that. But if I just point it out now, just there, can you see? But even so, and this fascinates me, even so, that's not really rough at all. Obviously, you can feel there's an indentation, there's a piece missing that's been chewed out. But this one here that I manufactured is rough and would make horses' mouth sore very quickly. Same as this one, exactly the same. As I say to you there, can you see? It's rough. When you feel that, it's rough. No good. But this one, although it's been chewed, is still soft. I just can't understand. It must have taken forever to get the compound right of the rubber. I find these absolutely excellent. They do the job. As you see, there's loads and loads of clips of films, and if you look on our YouTube channel, that's all they're driven in now, is these bits. Yes, they're expensive as compared with these, but then if that's going to happen, and a lot of people say to us, I love the idea of rubber bits, want to use one, but you know, they get chewed and therefore they're not, they're no good, because obviously you don't want this rubbing through a horse's mouth as it's moving on their bars, do you? I mean, it's ridiculous. So I can't praise these enough. Now, we got sent some of these. We even had to pay the import duty on them when they come, which was quite a lot of money. But we buy these now for ourselves, and I really genuinely can't fault them. They're absolutely marvellous. Oh, by the way, this one that's got this little chew, we had a look in the horse's mouth, and we got, when the vet was here, we just got him open up his mouth with a jack, and when we looked, the premolar had broken a bit off quite a while ago because it was stained, but it was a little bit rough and jagged, and this side not a mark on, not a mark. So only that one side there, and we put that down to the fact that the premolar had suffered some damage. Only a tiny chip, not very much. It was a little split, broke away of its tooth. Probably bit on something, you know. Oh, but absolutely incredible. They say in their advert that they give it to a dog to chew, and there was no marks. Well, when I heard that, I thought, yeah. But I've got to say, they are absolutely marvellous. And the fact that they're interchangeable makes it right. So you can have that one, you know, with the conventional driving bit, people call them. I don't know how the horse knows any difference, but they call them a driving bit. And there's all different sorts of cheek pieces that you can get on them. If you go on the website, you can see loads. But would I recommend them? Yes, I would. 1,000,000%. And that's it, really, as much as I can say. So absolutely blown away with them. I just cannot believe, and the control you've got, and they like them. As soon as you put them in their mouth, they like them. They like all rubber bits, really, because they're not cold and heavy and metal, are they? So they feel better. So anyway, that's as much as I can say about them. They're brilliant.
There's a smile on my face every time I hear that sound. The rhythm of the hooves as they touch the ground. And there's no better place I'd rather be than with my safe, confident horse. And there's no better place I'd rather be than with my safe, confident horse that's happy.